Some in WWE reportedly believe that Drew Gulak could be gone from the company after the accusation made against him by Ronda Rousey in an interview this week. We'll let you know the updates when it comes to that. Speaking of updates, we have some on the alleged Vince McMahon love letters written to the former TKO executive chairman by his accuser, Janelle Grant, as part of that bombshell lawsuit. We've got updates and statements from both the attorneys of both camps, plus more details of The Rock's return to WWE. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about the latest developments when it comes to Ronda Rousey's accusation regarding WWE superstar Drew Gulak. This is a story that has developed quite a bit over the last day or so. And some in WWE, some people reportedly expect that Drew Gulak could be gone after the recent accusation made against him. Now, if you're not familiar with the story and how this has developed, in an interview with News Nation on April 2nd, Ronda Rousey claimed that Drew Gulak had once, quote, grabbed the drawstring of her sweatpants backstage. Here's what Rousey had to say and the details regarding the accusation.
Bruce Pritchard and another one of the writers, and God, I forgot his name. I can't believe I forgot this guy's name. It'll come back to me. But I was standing there, and this guy that I was like barely an acquaintance with grabs the string of like my sweatpants as I'm walking by, and like nobody, like I wasn't even looking at him, you know, and I looked down the hall and I was like, I don't know if I can swear on this. Are you gonna believe me? It's a quote, okay? But this guy grabs the string of my sweatpants and nobody else reacts as if this is abnormal. And he grabs it and he starts going down the hall and I'm just like, what the was that? Like, why are you grabbing the string of my sweatpants? If my husband was standing here next to me, would you feel comfortable like walking up to me and grabbing the string of my sweatpants? And nobody around me acted like as if it was abnormal. Like they're like all the guys around me were just like, you know, this is part of the day. And I'm like, if this guy is coming up to me and doing this kind of stuff to me when there's other people around, like what's happening to these other girls when it's not in a hallway or something like that? So that really put me on an edge to like, not only is this like behavior prevalent, but it's so prevalent that people don't even realize it's a problem anymore.
Who was this guy?
Dude, I swear to God, I know exactly what he looks like, and I completely am blanking on his name. Is this part of my concussion test? Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak. That's who it was. Yes. Yeah, I went and confronted him later, and I was like, if I ever hear about you putting like your hands on any other woman like this or doing anything like this to me ever again, we're gonna have I'm editing myself all the swear words out, but we're gonna have a problem. And he was like, no, you know, I'm glad that you said something to me. He's really like backpedaled and everything like that. But it just put a really sour taste in my mouth about the culture there and what's considered acceptable and how to touch and treat the women in the hallways and anywhere, but backstage.
Yeah, I bet it.
Now, Drew Gulak later did respond to this accusation with a post on X yesterday. Here's what he had to say. He said, quote, backstage at a WWE event in 2022, I saw Ronda talking with a group in the hallway. I stopped to say hi and shake all their hands, and in an attempt to shake her hand, I accidentally touched her drawstring. Complete accident, and one that I had apologized to her for the mishap. Now, in the latest development when it comes to this, Brian Alvarez was talking on Wrestling Observer Radio, and he reported that some people in WWE expect the NXT superstar to be gone from the company after the accusation. Alvarez said, quote, there were people today, or actually it was Tuesday when this story came out, and there were people there that thought, man, Drew Gulak's probably going to be gone tomorrow. Now, as of this recording, there's been no news of a departure happening, and Gulak is still with WWE as of right now. Of course, if we get any more details on this in the future, we'll let you know. But what do you think about the future of Drew Gulak? Do you think this is a big story? Do you think it's something that's been made bigger? Do you think it's Ronda Rousey talking for the sake of maybe putting her book in the headlines? What do you think about this? Let me know your reaction in the comments section below. Now, speaking of these allegations about the environment within WWE, particularly towards women, we have more details when it comes to these alleged love letters written to Vince McMahon by his accuser, Janelle Grant. Now, new updates on the alleged love letter that Janelle Grant sent to Vince McMahon that emerged a number of days ago. Of course, Grant is the former WWE employee who filed a lawsuit against McMahon, WWE, and John Laurinaitis on January 25, 2024. A few days ago, the New York Post published the letter that was sent on Christmas Eve 2021, and essentially the idea is that the McMahon side presents it as evidence that the relationship between Grant and McMahon was consensual, whereas Grant's side claims that she was coerced into writing it to him. Now, in new comments to Post Wrestling and WrestleNomics, McMahon's lawyer Jessica Torb Rosenberg of Kasowitz Benson Torres said, quote, "Miss Grant's letter is multiple pages, includes details of their relationship, and indicates she wrote 24 drafts. It makes no sense to coerce someone to write 24 drafts of a multiple-page love letter. Miss Grant wrote this love letter to Mr. McMahon. Her attorney is now desperately trying to explain it away because it shows the relationship was consensual and the lawsuit's allegations are a sham. The false explanation that it was coerced is nonsense. Miss Grant's letter is just one piece of evidence demonstrating the relationship was consensual and her allegations in the lawsuit are false. There are more pieces of evidence like this to come that will prove her claims are meritless," end quote. However, Grant's lawyer Ann Callis argues, quote, "For Vince McMahon, it's further proof of misconduct. Redoing and editing the letter, it wasn't love, it was fear of repercussions. She was frankly an emotional prisoner and was asked to write a love letter by Vince McMahon. This isn't a new thing like gotcha, it happens when people are sex trafficked." Callis claims the letter being released was a tactic to intimidate Janelle and victim shame her. Another update comes regarding an excerpt from the letter in which Grant had written, quote, "Even though so few people know about us, the most freeing feeling this year came when we got to act like a couple, openly, freely, when Mickey, Paul, and the chef were around us." Now, according to Callis, the Paul being referred to is Paul Mangieri, an executive assistant at WWE. People familiar with WWE also said Mickey Mangieri worked as an assistant to Vince McMahon. John Laurinaitis' lawyer, Edward Brennan, also provided new comments again, claiming that Laurinaitis is a victim of McMahon. They said, quote, "Judge Callis was a learned judge and a skilled litigator. I anticipate she will ultimately see that Mr. Laurinaitis is, like her client, a victim in this case, and Judge Callis will do the right thing and dismiss my client from this lawsuit. In the event she does not, my client will clear his name and reputation in court, not the media." Now, representatives from WWE and TKO did not respond to a request for comment on Post Wrestling and WrestleNomics reports. So what are your thoughts on the latest developments when it comes to that? What are your thoughts on the comments? Of course, if we get any more details on this in the future, we'll let you know in an upcoming video. And finally, The Rock has spoken in depth to ESPN about his return to WWE, and it's some very interesting details, not only about this return, the lead up to it, but also the future of the final boss in WWE. Now, it says as follows. Again, this is an article that comes from ESPN. It's a very lengthy interview and piece that's written by Mike Coppinger and also Mark Raimondi. It begins by saying, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stepped up to his tour bus parked outside the Allstate Arena loading dock in Chicago and slammed the door behind him. Raindrops beaded on his muscular tattooed arms, which were exposed to the Windy City's elements by a sleeveless designer vest. The blood of Cody Rhodes was still on his hands. Brian Gewirtz, a longtime former WWE writer who still works closely with The Rock as the senior vice president at Johnson's 7 Bucks Productions, entered the bus behind him following the final segment of Monday Night Raw on March 25. The presence cast by the 6'5", nearly 300-pound former defensive tackle, chest heaving, was an intimidating one. Quote, "We've been working together for like 25 years, said Gewirtz. He's an intense, breathing and everything, and I actually felt a little uncomfortable because he was so much in that zone still. It wasn't like laid-back, friendly Dwayne." Johnson, 51, has been back in WWE since New Year's Day, but this is not the same affable Rock that fans of his movies or television projects know. It's not even the same cocky people's champion that wrestling fans loved or loved to hate in the 1990s and early 2000s. Evolving with the necessary storyline and bringing in elements of reality, Johnson has become the final boss, a menacing bad guy who beat Rhodes bloody outside in the rain while vowing to whip Rhodes with a weight belt in front of his mother. It's that version of Johnson that will team with Roman Reigns against Rhodes and Seth Rollins in the main event of WrestleMania 40's first night Saturday in Philadelphia. And that's new for Hollywood's most recognizable star. Johnson is now, as of January, sitting on the board of directors of TKO Group, the parent company of WWE and the UFC. He also owns the full rights to the Rock character name, image, and likeness. To ensure he's fully prepared for the rigors and timing necessary to deliver a top-notch match, Johnson started training in the first week of February in Los Angeles and Hawaii. To accommodate him, WWE shipped 2 rings and 3 wrestlers from the East Coast. Away from the physical training, he leaned into the menacing authority figure persona and has appeared on WWE programming regularly since his comeback. After multiple attempts in the past to bring him back, everything came together in 2024 for his first full-length match in 11 years, including those aforementioned final boss-like business moves. Why this year? Johnson told ESPN in February in Las Vegas, "It felt like the timing of this was going to work out good, and it felt like the timing was going to work out in our favor." Brian Gewirtz flew into Chicago from Los Angeles for the March 25 Raw episode on a private jet with Johnson and Khan. Johnson texted Khan and Gewirtz a menu from Kuma's Corner, an acclaimed hamburger place, and told them to pick out what they wanted. Quote, "It'll be waiting in your room when you get it," Johnson told them. "After all this training, I could really use a meal like this." Johnson, from an aesthetic standpoint, is in incredible shape. A quick scroll of his Instagram page would confirm that he's still an avid weightlifter, constantly in the gym building his strength. But while his enviable physique is larger than life, that does not necessarily translate into the cardiovascular shape needed for a major professional wrestling match live and in front of around 60,000 fans. That's why Johnson created a training camp, not unlike the ones you'll see in mixed martial arts or boxing. WWE shipped 2 rings to Los Angeles and worked with Johnson's team to rent warehouses as training facilities. One ring was set up in Los Angeles, where Johnson resides. There he simulated matches alongside NXT's Gallus, the Scottish trio that consists of Wolfgang, along with real-life brothers Mark and Joe Coffey. Since Johnson is competing in a tag team match, he needed 3 wrestlers to push through the in-ring sequences and hone his timing. Michael P.S. Hayes, a WWE Hall of Famer as part of the Freebirds and longtime match producer for WWE, supervised those training sessions along with Bobby Roode, a former NXT US and WWE Tag Team Champion who's now working as a producer. Veteran referee Chad Patton officiated those sessions while WWE Medical oversaw the rehearsals to make sure it was run safely. The other ring, it was placed in a shipping container and sent off to Hawaii, where Johnson has a family home. The training ring's journey there took about 1 week. The total cost tens of thousands of dollars. In Hawaii, The Rock trained alone. Johnson said he's not doing as many speed or mobility drills in his preparation, but practicing more of the live action types of timing scenarios. Quote, "Suplexes, a launch off the top rope, a catch, like bodies hitting bodies," Johnson said. "It's things like that you have to do and have to prepare for, and you're getting bruised up, you're hitting the ropes. It comes back fairly quick. It's like riding a bike." The last match Johnson had against John Cena at WrestleMania 29 in 2013, he tore his abdomen and adductor muscles, as well as suffered a hernia about 10 minutes into the match. And that wasn't even his first match back after a long layoff. He wrestled CM Punk 3 months prior to that at the Royal Rumble. He was 11 years younger too. Johnson has visibly looked leaner on television the last few weeks. That's not only because of his wrestling-specific training, he's also working out with an eye to his next movie role, MMA legend Mark Kerr in the upcoming The Smashing Machine biopic. Johnson will jump right into making that film after WrestleMania, so in some ways it is truly an MMA training camp. Quote, "I know he is training and dieting and working out like a maniac, and I think that was strategic by design," Gewirtz said. First, though, Johnson has to perform in the ring at the extremely high level he has been on the microphone during the lead-up to this weekend. Quote, "Fortunately for me, very lucky in that I became somewhat of a ring general, where I see the circumference of the ring and where I need to be, usually timing-wise," Johnson said, "because timing is really important in our business of wrestling. So just putting in the work, training, the diet begins, which always sucks, and taking the falls and getting my ass kicked every day, so we'll see how it goes." The work continued while Johnson was on the road for appearances. On Monday, The Rock pushed through a full rehearsal of Saturday's main event, along with Rollins, Rhodes, and Reigns in Brooklyn, and will do again Thursday in Philadelphia. The Rock's return started to materialize in December 2021 in Atlanta. It was there Johnson gathered with his longtime friend, WWE President Nick Khan, at the Atlanta Staple Bones, where the pair enjoyed a 5-hour dinner. There they began to lay the groundwork for his eventual in-ring comeback. Quote, my grandmother was promoting wrestling shows in Hawaii, Lia Maivia, in 1983-84, said Johnson, who will induct his late grandmother into the WWE Hall of Fame on Friday. Nick and his sister were all running around together in that arena in Honolulu back then because they were living in Hawaii too. So our relationship goes way back. It was 2 months later, February 2022, in Honolulu, where Johnson's wife and 2 daughters, as well as Khan's wife, daughter and son, met once again to continue the dialogue. Quote, Nick's an excellent leader, astute businessman, and sharp deal maker, Johnson said, because he's an innovative collaborator, a big picture thinker, and has the capacity to recognize epic, disruptive opportunities for brand building. Khan represented WWE since 2016 as part of his role as co-head of television at CAA, but joined the company officially as president and chief revenue officer in 2020. Bringing The Rock back to the WWE universe would be as big as they come in terms of building the brand, but Khan, still relatively new in his role at the company, wanted to blow out a Rock return at WrestleMania 38 in Dallas. However, it didn't come to fruition. The big return that night ended up being Stone Cold Steve Austin, who starred alongside The Rock during the Attitude Era. Austin faced Kevin Owens in a street fight. The Rock's comeback would have to wait. Quote, ultimately, Dwayne would say one of his greatest loves was WWE, Khan said, but Dwayne needed to figure out the why, beyond his love of wrestling, or tried to prove that he was still the real head of the table, so it didn't happen. Dwayne went about with his empire-building career, and then we re-engaged in late 2022. The conversation centered around WrestleMania Goes Hollywood last year at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Between The Rock's real-life standing as the highly paid movie star and the public demand for a long simmering feud between him and Reigns, it appeared to be the perfect setting for his return. Quote, Dwayne did the on-camera intro before the Super Bowl at SoFi, Khan said. When he was leaving the stadium, Dwayne said on camera to his videographers, I'll see you again at SoFi this April. Ultimately, Dwayne and I met again, and again, the why wasn't there. The day after WrestleMania 39 at SoFi, the creation of TKO Group, the forthcoming merger between WWE and UFC, was announced. In late 2023, alongside Endeavor CEO and longtime Johnson agent Ari Emanuel and President Mark Shapiro, Khan and Johnson discussed a board seat for The Rock, and the why started to materialize for Dwayne, Khan said. Now with a reinvigorated, vested interest in WWE, it was time for Johnson to go all in. Quote, I was excited to work with Nick, Ari, and Mark Shapiro to expand the WWE/TKO business to new heights. It all culminated in The Rock's return to WWE on January 1st, when he delivered his trademark spinebuster, followed by the People's Elbow to Jinder Mahal. The Rock was widely cheered by the crowd and trended instantly across social media after he teased a showdown with Reigns. Quote, that relationship that I have with Nick has certainly helped propel a lot of this forward, Johnson said. Even though things didn't work out philosophically for us to get the deal done for WrestleMania 39 at SoFi Stadium, that allowed this incredible opportunity for Cody Rhodes to come in. And as we are feeling and sensing and hearing from his passionate fans, what an incredible opportunity for him. Positive comments like that from Johnson about Rhodes have come few and far between lately. After Rhodes became just the 4th man ever to win back-to-back Royal Rumbles in January, he seemed destined for a WrestleMania rematch with Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Reigns' title run has now exceeded 1,300 days. 6 days after the Rumble, Rhodes seemed to be on the verge of finalizing his choice for WrestleMania during a SmackDown segment. Instead of picking Reigns for his title shot, Rhodes introduced The Rock and with a hug appeared to pass off his main event spot. The fans hated it. They revolted with "We want Cody" chants, which gave the way to The Rock dubbing them the Cody Crybabies. 6 days later, they converged on Las Vegas 3 days before the Super Bowl for WrestleMania 40 kickoff news conference. It was there The Rock slapped Rhodes to set up the tag team match that will headline Night 1. Now, Rhodes has the chance, as he says, to finish the story and win WWE's top prize, the championship that eluded his legendary father, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Quote, Cody's got to tell his story, said Johnson. So here we are in WrestleMania 40. What can we deliver for them? How can it be unique? How could it be different? And how could we still put on the biggest WrestleMania of all time? What's been most unique is Johnson embracing his heel persona to an ultra-violent degree. He's embodied a ruthless, take-no-prisoners persona that is out for blood literally in a quest to ensure he, Reigns, and the entire bloodline are respected and acknowledged above all else. Part of that respect will come from the audience who expect The Rock to deliver in the ring the way he did during his prime. It's all about respect, Johnson said, and not just for the fans in attendance and watching in their homes, but for the men and women who have been busting their asses night in and night out for years. Now, there's no telling if and when he'll step inside the ropes again for a full-fledged wrestling match, but The Rock's influence will remain in and beyond the wrestling ring. Quote, "I'm not off the board after WrestleMania," Johnson told Gewurz. "I'm still on the board, and I will still always be a part of this, and we are in it now. This is our thing, and will forever be our thing." Gewurz said that doesn't mean The Rock will be a fixture from Raw now on. He said, quote, "But I do think there's going to be a Rock presence in WWE going forward until whenever he doesn't want to," Brian Gewurz said. "It could definitely say that this isn't over a day after WrestleMania and I'm going to go off in the sunset now. But after all the stops and starts on the journey to The Rock's return, he'll surely cherish this weekend, and so too will the fans. Even if the best laid plans were upset by the surge of support behind Rhodes, and in an entertainment medium filled with swerves, the table is now set for The Rock to turn on Reigns for a singles match down the road." Quote, "This whole run has really kind of rejuvenated him," Gewurz said of Johnson. "He's not physically and mentally capable of ever being on autopilot, but there was kind of this like safe zone in the babyface space that is fun and fan-pleasing, but isn't the edgiest of things you can do in a ring with a microphone. Not to the point of bloodying up the #1 babyface in WWE and threatening his mother and dog. It's just like he's never been bigger than he is now," he added. "He's part of the board. He just kind of carries a certain weight as opposed to when he came back earlier, when he was at a great level, but not this. That's why the final boss feels so organic, because it's not only is the TKO literal final boss, but just the weight of Dwayne Johnson in 2024, it just feels important." Now, Rhodes said he believes the final boss character is reminiscent of when Hulk Hogan turned heel in 1996 and formed the NWO's Hollywood Hulk Hogan with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash in WCW. Hogan went from being the ultimate good guy to a dastardly violent villain. Quote, "It's a whole other layer," Rhodes said Wednesday to ESPN's First Take. "I can tell you that's the staying power. You turned this and made it into something incredibly different and very special." And as the final Raw heading into WrestleMania went off the air on Monday, The Rock followed through on his promise. He stripped Rhodes of his shirt and his weight belt and proceeded to use it to whip Cody relentlessly as he screamed, the echo of leather striking flesh reverberating throughout the arena, even a referee caught in the rampage. All the while, a wry smile was on Johnson's face, a cow print vest, the only clothing covering his muscular frame. He is back where he belongs. So what do you make of that? Let me know your reactions to all of it in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.